One man has ruled supreme in the ARCA RE Series at Kentucky Speedway. Jeffersonville, Indiana's Frank Kimmel. Last May, Kimmel took the pole and dominated the field, leading all but 4 laps on his way to victory. Then in July, Kimmel was king again, capturing the pole and taking the checkered flag. This season, Frank Kimmel is making the jump to Winston Cup, but not before trying for an ARCA three-peat on the 1.5-mile oval in Sparta. Well, buckle up, because tonight, WLWT is making history again, this time with the first live local broadcast from the Kentucky Speedway. It's the inaugural running of the Channel 5 155. Presented by your Greater Cincinnati Ford dealers, Bobcat Enterprises, and AE Door and Window Company. Well, you're looking at the Kentucky Speedway as the sun is setting here on this Saturday night. We're all set for racing. It's the Channel 5 155, the first live local telecast outside this speedway in the history of the Kentucky Speedway, now in its 3rd season. Hello again, everybody, along with former ARCA racing champ Andy Hillenberg. I'm Ken Brew, and welcome to what we think is going to be an absolute blast tonight, the televising of this, one of the premier ARCA races of the 2002 season. Andy, you've driven with a lot of these guys. You have certainly taught a lot of these guys how to drive at your driving school in Charlotte, North Carolina. What kind of race are we looking for tonight? Are we looking for Frank Kimmel and the rest of the pack? Or do other people actually have a chance to win this thing?
Well, definitely other people have a chance. I mean, you have to list Frank as the favorite, but there's other guys that I think that can win this race. Chad Blunt, Damon Lusk, Andy Belmont. There's other guys in the field that can unseat Frank with, good pit strategy and outracing him at the end of the night.
Obviously, yesterday in qualifying, John Metcalf found the right setup. Metcalf, who finished second in the summer race here last year, the ARCA summer race, comes up and takes the pole last night. So obviously he's somebody that served notice.
Absolutely. That was a very big lap that he turned, and nobody was really expecting anybody to edge Frank. I mean, Frank put a really good number on the board, and then John was able to go out and beat him. So, racing is never finished until everybody goes home, checkered flags waved.
Not a precise science for sure. Okay, let's take a look at some of the points as we see who's doing what in the ARCA RE Series. First, though, let's take a look at the track. This is a tough track if you don't know what you're doing. It's not just a series of left-hand turns.
Absolutely. 1.5 mile tri-oval, front straightaway of 1,662 feet. Back straightaway, a little shorter, 1,600 feet. The turns are banked 14 degrees. 4 degrees of banking on the back stretch, 8 degrees on the front, and 10 right at the start-finish line.
Turn 4 proved to be a little dicey yesterday. Turn 3 certainly too. Is there something going on in that section of the track?
Well, guys are having difficulty finding the grip. Hoosier brought a different racing tire for him on this event, and some of the guys haven't quite found the handle. The guys that are being really aggressive, getting back in the throttle really quick, or driving in a little bit like they used to, are having a little bit of trouble.
All right, now let's take a look and see who's doing what in terms of points. Points are very important, obviously, to drivers, to manufacturers, to owners. Here are the drivers' points as they stand coming in after 4 races. And Damon Lusk right now has the lead over Kimmel. But look, you see Blunt, you see Jarrett, Todd Bowser, who had all kinds of trouble here yesterday qualifying, all within striking distance of Damon Lusk. We'll explain how points are awarded and why they're so important as we continue on the evening. In terms of owners' points, they're just as important as drivers' points too. And as you can see on the owner's side, Jack Bowser from South Vienna, Ohio, Shelby Howard Sr., Shelby Howard Jr.'s dad, also there, but it's Chuck Woodruff who leads all with the 22 car, the Damon Lusk car. And that car, incidentally, crashed yesterday in practice. They had some problems and were really scrambling as the afternoon progressed to get the other car ready for qualifying.
Right. They did have to go to a backup and qualified fairly well. They're looking forward to a good race.
All right, who's in this race? What does the starting grid look like? And what's going on in the pits? It is all straight ahead when we continue live from the Kentucky Speedway with this, the first Channel 5 155.
Tonight's broadcast of the Channel 5 155 is sponsored by AE Door and Window Company. We sell the best and service the rest. Bobcat Enterprises, the finest in construction equipment in Cincinnati, Louisville, and Lexington. Kentucky Lottery. Someone's going to win. Might as well be you. And by your Greater Cincinnati Ford dealers, an official sponsor of the Kentucky Speedway.
Well, they think it'll be the largest ARCA crowd of the season. We shall see. We're very proud about it here on Channel 5 to bring you this first running of the Channel 5 155. We have people in the pits. We mean that literally, not figuratively. Let's go down to George Vogel, who's standing by down there, along with Brian Hamrick. George?
Yeah, Ken, we have Jeep Flume here getting ready to go in the Channel 5 car. Jeep, you're ready to fire this baby up. You had success here last year. How do you follow that up this time?
We're hoping for a top 5 tonight.
What do you have to do early in this race? Just keep it between the walls?
Just get to the bottom and stay out of trouble, because you usually got to just wait out about 50 laps and then race the next 50.
Jeep, I'll tell you what, we're going to let you go and fire this baby up. Good luck tonight. All right, that's Jeep Flume in the number 5 car, starting out of the 18th position. Also working the pits down here tonight, Brian Hamrick. And Brian, looks like a great night to race.
Hey, it looks like a great night, George. You know, one of the things they're going to be keeping an eye on is this track. Now, this is a very new track. It's what they call a very green track. They've got to keep an eye on many things out here: the air temperature, the track temperature, the humidity. They're going to forecast what's going to happen out here. And they tell us they got some new tires on these cars. They've got a new formula. The other day, a lot of these tires spun some of these guys out, and they say it's a new formula. A lot of guys are going to have to try and get used to this thing. We'll have to see how they do. Ken?
And thank you. It was a matter of contention, certainly. We'll see if there have been adjustments made as we look ahead to the starting grid and the green flag. We will have that for you when we return here from the Kentucky Speedway in a couple of minutes for this, the first ever Channel 5 155. Back in just a moment. Back at the Kentucky Speedway, there is the pole winner from yesterday's qualifying in the 05 car. It was a terrific run for John Metcalf, surprising a lot of people. Everybody thought it would be Frank Kimmel taking the pole. He seems to own this track, but yesterday it wasn't Kimmel. Kimmel finishes second to that man. And look at that speed. And you have to wonder, Andy, if that's going to hold up. I mean, we're looking at some different conditions tonight than yesterday at 2:30 in the afternoon. But this man, Metcalf, was motoring yesterday.
Yeah, and I really expect late in the evening to see these kind of speeds when they're running for the win the last 20 laps. With this tire configuration that they brought, they're just as fast on lap 70 as they are lap 2.
All right, so there he is. He will start number 1. Let's take a look at the starting grid for tonight's Channel 5 155. And we'll begin, as always, in the front row. And you're going to see a lot of these guys, I think, early on. You're going to see in that Remax International Chevrolet the pole winner, John Metcalf. Frank Kimmel starts right next to him from Jeffersonville, Indiana. In row 2 tonight, you'll also see Chad Blunt and Vern Slaw, two men who have had a lot of success so far in the 2002 season. On to row 3, and there you'll find Billy Venturini, the son of the ARCA legend, and Michael Vergers from Holland. In row 4 tonight, here are the 2 drivers that will start behind them, and that will be Damon Lusk and Tim Steele. Lusk, of course, the points leader. Steele, of course, one of the great super speedway drivers in ARCA history. Shelby Howard, the teenager in car 64 in row 5, along with the nephew of Ricky Rudd, Jason Rudd. As we move on to row 6, it's A.J. Hendrickson and Keith Mert. More on Hendrickson in just a moment. Row 7 tonight, as they qualified yesterday, will feature Jason Jarrett, the son of Dale Jarrett, and Jerry Glanville, the former NFL coach, former head coach of the Houston Oilers and the Atlanta Falcons. They start in row 7. In row 8, it's Brent Sherman and Ron Cox in the 50th anniversary car of ARCA Racing. In row 8 tonight, and qualifying this way yesterday, young Chase Montgomery in the 27 machine, and Jeep Flume in the Channel 5, Jeff Weiler, Right Track Racing Chevrolet. In row 10, John Hayden and Kevin Belmont. And if that name sounds familiar, it should. He is related to Andy Belmont. More on that as we continue. Andy Belmont in row 11 in the 1 car. Mark Gibson in the 59 Williams brother, number 4. He is out of Georgia. In row 12 tonight, qualifying this way on Friday, Darrell Basham and Willie Green from Northern Kentucky, Walton, Kentucky. Willie Green in row 12. In row 13, Justin Ashburn, and number 7, Randy Van Zant from Brookville, Ohio. Randy Van Zant from Brookville, Ohio. In row 14, along with Mike Berg from Cincinnati, is Frank Kemppower in row 15 tonight, and it is a large 40-core field, so here comes some more names. Norm Benning and Jimmy Edlin in the 01 car. In row 16 tonight, Qualifying on this way on Friday, Mike Buckley and Eric Martin in row 17 tonight. There we go. Greg Sarf out of Columbus, Ohio, and Neil McLennan from Hamilton in the 11 car. In row 18 tonight, Jeff Caudell. He had some problems yesterday. He spun out and hit the wall in practice. Chuck Weber in the 24. He had some problems before this race tonight and was in danger of not answering the bell. In the 91, a provisional qualifier, Christy Passmore. And in the 6 car, Michael Zazula from Turnersville, New Jersey. And in row 20 tonight, it's Brad Smith and Todd Antrican from Miamisburg. And in row 21, again, another provisional qualifier who had all kinds of problems yesterday. That would be Todd Bowser, son of Jack. And he is in on a provisional after qualifying yesterday in a very, very slow time. So there you see the qualifying grid. There you see the crowd. Andy, I think it's ready to go racing.
Yep, and we're going to move here to our onboard cameras. We've got 2 of them out there this evening that ought to be able to give us some good action. This is the view that you want to see, except not the pace car. Frank Kimmel's view, right out front, starting on the front row. Frank, of course, has won many races, won both races here at Kentucky last year. Look for big things from him this evening in the Advanced Auto Parts car. Pork the other white meat. And here we have A.J. Henriksen in the Engineered Components Company. AJ, he's been running a lot of the races the past couple of years. Very young driver. He's shown a lot of promise, and I guarantee you he won't be waiting. He'll be going to the front, and he should be able to give us a few good shots tonight.
Henriksen out of Mooresville, North Carolina, as you saw on our starting grid, qualifying 11th in his Chevrolet. And Frank Kimmel, who may feel a bit challenged tonight after failing to win the pole. You know, you almost expect Kimmel would win a pole, particularly here at Kentucky. He did not yesterday. So my guess is that only challenged him even more as they went back into the garage after qualifying and then came out in happy hour. He and the pole winner, John Metcalf, went kind of like mano-a-mano in happy hour last night.
Very much so. And Bill Kimmel, it probably bothered Frank's brother Bill more that they lost the pole. Frank's probably, well, okay, we still got a bunch of them to go. And but Bill, he wants to win every single pole in every single race, which obviously Frank does. But it probably bugged Bill a little bit more than it did Frank.
Still on the pace lap, or laps as I should say. Coming down now through turn 3 into turn 4, and we await the green flag, which tonight will be dropped by the lovely Lisa Cooney from Channel 5. Great pre-race festivities on the track tonight too, featuring a lot of the folks from Channel 5. The drivers, each paired with a particular child in the crowd. Pace car has peeled into the pits. We await the green flag, and we are just about set to go racing. And as that green flag drops, on it right off the bat is Kimmel, who zips past Metcalf and into the lead. They're through turn 1, and the Channel 5 155 is off and running. So Kimmel wasting no time, putting some distance between he and John Metcalf. You had to know that was coming, and he just had to.
But that's pretty surprising because the pole leader is usually supposed to get to the start-finish line first, and you know, I kind of find that a little unusual. Whoa, they're really spreading out up there, fanning out in turns 3 and 4. We're already having some close racing here.
Well, Kimmel has the lead and some distance between him and Metcalf, and Chad Blunt now running third as the pack completes the first lap of the evening, and we'll pay particular attentions into turn 3 and 4 where there have been problems yesterday in qualifying and during some of the practice sessions in the morning. But right now, so far, so good. Although we've got some problems right away. We've got a couple of cars, Andy, that have just not been able to answer the bell. In fact, here comes somebody into the pits.
Yeah, Christy Passmore is one of them. And the other car.
And we got a problem down here. A spin out and almost a kiss off the wall by Tim Steele. And the yellow flag is out immediately on lap 2 as we proceed now under caution.
Tim has really struggled here this weekend. He spun out twice before qualifying. Last night in happy hour, he spun again and just tagged the wall. And here he is making contact here on lap 2 with the rear of the car as well.
And he's got some problems, obviously. And we'll take a look at this again, Andy, and it just looks like it got loose on him.
Yeah, the exact same basically thing that's been happening to him all weekend. They just have not found the setup for this car. You know, the new, like we talked about, a new tire here, and and they have just struggled. He has an all-new crew. This is their first race working together. His over-the-wall crew is the same, but they're having a little bit of trouble finding the handle here on the 16 car tonight.
Answered the bell at Atlanta, qualified 6th, finished 32nd, then went out with engine trouble on lap 75, but he didn't race at Daytona, Nashville, or Salem, and has cut back a little bit here at ARCA. And obviously, if you don't do it every week, it's really tough to get that set up.
Absolutely. That's why I'm not out here today. We haven't been running the past couple months, and it's hard to just do a one-off race.
So we're under caution. And the pace car back out. Kimmel continues, obviously, with the lead, with Blunt right behind him. And that's tough because Tim Steele is one of the bigger names on the ARCA circuit. It was someone that has challenged Kimmel from year to year, if not race to race. And it appears that Tim Steele, at least for the moment, is out of contention. We're going to step away for just a second. Back with more of the Channel 5 155 as we now move under caution. Back in just a moment.
Now they got a...
And we want to thank our good friends at Holman RV Rentals. They were kind enough to provide our production crew with a little comfort for tonight's race. We appreciate the ability to sit back and relax in comfort with Holman RV Rentals. Gentlemen, thank you very much. And as we come back live here to Sparta, Kentucky, there is the Tim Steele machine, which appears to be at this point out of the race. George Vogel along pit road, what do you have?
Yeah, they brought the car in. The right front was damaged, left rear was damaged. Changed all 4 tires. The front right tire was just shredded. After they changed the tires, they tried to fix some of the damage on the right front of that car. They just couldn't get it done. The car stalled out. They got to take it back to the garage and do what they can. No word yet if they're going to try to get back in this thing, but I got to believe with points on the line, they will. When we get an update, we'll be right back to you. Ken, back to you.
All right, George, thank you. So for the moment, Tim Steele behind the wall. And we also have some oil on the track they were trying to clean up there out by turn 3 and into turn 4. So that project appears to be done for the moment. And we're still under caution and very early in this race.
Yeah, the 16 car, boy, you just really hate to see that. As I mentioned, they had trouble. Tim got backwards 3 times before the race. Now this makes the 4th. He flat spotted the tires and the right front went flat while he was going around trying to catch up the pack, shredded a right front tire, and then knocked the right front fender off. I mean, it just has not been Tim Steele's weekend.
Some of the folks here at the Kentucky Speedway, they were expecting a crowd tonight in the high 20,000s. The weather is held, which is always good. ARCA, a tremendous event for walk-up fans, and they were anticipating a large walk-up crowd tonight.
This is a fun place to race. I mean, you get in Indiana, Ohio, Michigan, Kentucky, this is ARCA country.
Andy Hillenberg would know that. He runs the high-performance fast-track driving school down in Charlotte, North Carolina. And there is Tim Steele, who does not look happy as his crew ponders what to do next with his particular ride.
I would almost say, Ken, that they're probably just going to load that thing up. I mean, this just isn't their night. As the field comes down here, they're getting the 1-to-go signal. We'll be back to green in 1 lap.
So that's a long way to go home with nothing. And that's what Tim Steele is. We're also told now the 91 car of Christy Passmore is out.
Tough break for Christy there. Last week she won a sprint car race out at Little Rock, Arkansas, and she was hoping for 2 good weekends in a row, but not tonight.
Christy, the provisional qualifier yesterday out of Pryor, Oklahoma, just not happening tonight. We mentioned in the pre-race special, you have taught a lot of these drivers the ins and outs of the game, and I guess can report back to ARCA who's serious and who's not about this.
Yeah, at the Fast Track School, I've been working there for 12 years and owned the company the past 8 or 9. We became the official school of ARCA the past 3 years, and they send all the rookie drivers down to us to, take the first look at them, so they don't have to take the first look at them here on a race weekend.
That's no rookie driver. You're looking out the front window.
No, it's not.
Frank Kimmel. And we will be checking in with Frank from time to time tonight. We might even be able to eavesdrop in on his conversations with his pit crew.
We've also got 2 other cars we want to mention before we go back to green behind the wall. The 83 car of Greg Scarf and the number 8 car of Todd Antrican behind the wall.
So right now that would be 4 out of the field of 41. 4 out of the field of 41. The 91, the 8 are out, as is the 16 machine of Tim Steele. Green flag out, and here we go, and this time it's Blunt that's on Kimmel as they across the start-finish line. And Kimmel again leading the pack, but Blunt right on him. Chad Blunt has had a terrific go of it so far in 2002.
Yes, he has. And the points leader, the 22 car, did not come up to speed. He's up to speed now, but he got passed by several cars coming down the front straightaway.
Now, Blunt, I mean Lusk in the 22, he had some problems yesterday crashing in practice. He's got that backup car out there. Different setup, different feel, you think, at this point for him?
Yeah, and they might have overlooked some items because they just didn't have the time to fully prepare that car. I'm not sure that, or he just missed a shift here coming down the front straightaway.
Right now it's Kimmel, Blunt, Vern Slaw, 1, 2, 3. John Metcalf, I should say, 3, and Slaw 4. So it's Kimmel, Blunt, Metcalf, and Slaw, as we now have 8 laps in the book.
We got a car smoking here on the front straightaway, Mike Zazula, who lost an engine earlier yesterday, and it looks like they might have number 2 engine power plant failure there.
Well, he has pulled off now onto the apron and back into the infield, so he at the moment is done, and Kimmel now pads his lead even more over Blunt, with Metcalf running 3rd and Slaw running 4th.
An interesting thing here, Ken, what we haven't seen yesterday is guys running the high groove. We're starting to see cars get pushed up when they get past, getting in that second groove, and they're really having to tiptoe around the speedway, and it almost takes them a half a lap to really get going again. So the second groove really doesn't have any rubber in it right now.
And that groove only comes up if cars travel on it. It's not going to come up magically, and people, as you say, are a little tepid about going up in there.
Exactly. The only reason they're running there now is if they get pushed up there. Nobody's volunteering right now. Everybody hugging right around the bottom. Vern Slaw. Vern, he told me earlier that he was really expecting to kind of drop back to the middle of the field, but Vern's really hanging in there, running a good 4th place right now, hanging right on the back bumper there of John Metcalf.
Right now, the only guy that is even in the same area code of Frank Kimmel is Chad Blunt, as Kimmel crosses the start-finish line once again.
He's led it all the way. Frank has done this a lot in a lot of the ARCA races, especially this season, taken off and just basically put his cards right on the table right from the get-go. And right, as you said, Chad Blunt's the only one that's really able to hang on with him right now. Maybe after a round of pit stops, we might see some guys make some adjustments and be able to keep up.
There's Blunt in the 77 machine. Chad Blunt, who is from Walkerton, Indiana, qualifying 3rd yesterday behind Metcalf and Kimmel. And there is Kimmel and Blunt, and you can see the difference and the distance between the two of those. So many young, good drivers on this circuit, too. And Blunt's a name I think that you'll hear soon, and very soon, on that Winston Cup circuit. He just seems to have the setup and seems to have the swagger of a Winston Cup driver. It's all about finding the right ride and the right owner to believe in you, certainly, but he's certainly cut from that cloth.
Yeah, it's definitely a tough road to hoe to get to Winston Cup, but I think really soon for sure you'll see him in the winner's circle in an ARCA race very shortly. As Frank starts to lap some of the slower cars here, really already here on lap 13.
On board with Frank Kimmel in his Advanced Auto Parts Pork the Other White Meat.
Let's ride with Frank a little bit here. He's running a really nice line down on the bottom of the speedway, up against the outside wall here. You'll notice the lap cars, they hopefully see Frank coming. They'll move down to the inside. Now Frank, this is the first time he's really had to go up in that outside groove. Not quite what you want. He tiptoes around there pretty good, but takes right off. Chad closed up a little bit on him. He was a little bit more aggressive up there in that outside lane and closed up probably 4 or 5 car lengths. But really good line. Frank looks like he's driving pretty smooth, definitely controlling the race right now.
Kimmel winning at Salem and winning the pole at Salem a couple of weeks ago. He also has a pole and a win at Nashville, 3rd at Daytona. The only race he really did not have any success at was Atlanta, where he wiped out in lap 54. Let's go down to the pits. Brian Hammer.
Ken, I'm with Greg Sarf, the 83 car here. Little trouble, a little bit of disappointing early on. Have a little transmission trouble. Greg, you're going to be able to get back into this thing.
Yeah, we should be tying up here in just a few minutes. We had to put another transmission in the car. We're really disappointed. We thought we had a good race car. The Beanie Selection Coach Sales Ford was running great in second practice, and we're hoping to get back out here shortly.
Thanks a lot, Greg. The guys will be working on this. There's still points for these guys. Back up to you, Ken.
All right, thank you, Brian. You saw briefly there on board with A.J. Hendrickson, the Chevrolet out of Mooresville, North Carolina, qualifying 11th. We'll go back to him in a little bit. Sarf In fact, there we are, too, again with A.J. Sarf from Columbus, ironically campaigning a car with Willie Green behind the wheel, and Green's car has been dialing better this week than Greg's has.
Here we are riding with AJ again. AJ's running in 8th, or actually just moved up to 7th place, running a great race, coming up on some lap traffic right here, working right around the outside.
That was Frank Kamphammer that he just lapped.
A lot of lap traffic right now. There's pretty much action all around the speedway. The leaders are working through it great. Frank Kimmel, Chad Blunt doing a great job, and actually John Metcalf and Vern Slaw are hanging right in there too, about the same distance that Frank broke out. They're not really losing any more ground now.
But it really is Kimmel now putting the distance between he and the rest of the pack, and this is so reminiscent of that first race here at the Kentucky Speedway last year in May, where Kimmel, in that instance, battling Tim Steele for the early part of the race, just kept putting more and more distance between he and the rest of the pack, and it appears to be what Kimmel is doing tonight.
And here's a really good battle for 5th place. Jason Rudd is really working on the back door here of Billy Venturini. I like how Jason's looking here this early. He's doing a really good job. He's not being over aggressive, but he's still being a little bit aggressive, wanting to get up there in that top 5.
Jason Rudd, the nephew of NASCAR and Winston Cup driver Ricky Rudd. Ricky, of course, making noise about retiring, and perhaps if and when that happens, he'll devote some of his attention to his nephew here on the ARCA circuit. On board again with Frank Kimmel. And as the sun begins to go down and the wind begins to pick up, does the track and the slick surface that we saw the last in practice yesterday and in qualifying, Andy, does it become less of a factor?
I think so. I think right now the track's getting more grip. We're starting to get a lot of rubber on the racetrack, and I really think that that you'll see faster speeds as we go along tonight, which is usually not the case in a long race.
We're told the number 4 machine, Jeff Caudell, the Chevrolet out of Austin, Indiana, is out and will not be back. And we've got smoke coming out of the back of Randy Van Zant's Pontiac.
Blown engine down the front straightaway. ARCA officials looking over real close to see if they dropped any oil, and he stayed up on the racetrack. I just have to think that they're going to throw a caution here pretty soon. He smoked all the way around the racetrack. Still no caution. The guys are still racing. Actually, that looks like it might have been a tire go down, because now he's down on the rim, so he wasn't doing well. It looked like the ARCA officials knew what they were doing right there.
Well, Van Zant certainly will come in for some maintenance there.
Yeah, he's got a left front tire down, and what's happening is he's running around the racetrack is it's tearing up the body of the race car. It's really going to hurt his aerodynamics as he comes around. It's probably grinding off the sway bar arm as well.
Well, we got a lot of sparks coming out the bottom of that car. But he now makes his way down pit road, and he will have to have some attention to that left front tire. All of this has no bearing on what's going on with Kimmel, Blunt, Metcalf still 1, 2, 3, with Vern Slaw running 4th. And now, as you say, the lap traffic becomes a little dicey for Kimmel. There you see Van Zant in the pits. They'll work on that. And it looks like the 83 car Sarf is coming back out. So
yes, good to
news
see
for
that.
Greg. We're told that the 16 card cord line damage out of the race. The 16 car of Tim Steele. That was the reason why Steele went back behind the wall. He's out with what's being described as cord line damage.
No changes in the top 5. Frank Kimmel, Chad Blunt, John Metcalf, Vern Slaw, and Billy Venturini still our top 5.
Billy Venturini, of course, the son of Bill Venturini. And Bill, of course, 12 ARCA wins in his resume, and now helping his son and also doing a little TV work over on Speed Vision.
I tell you what, Vern Slaw, he told me that he was gonna lay back a little bit, and boy, I tell you, if Vern's laying back, he's got to be a favorite this thing late in the evening.
On board with A.J. Hendrickson, and while we watch that, we'll go down to the pits. George Vogel is standing by. George?
Yeah, we are in the garage of Tim Steele, and you can see the damage to the car here. They have packed it in. They have called it a race. Tim Steele out of this one. There's more damage to the back of the car, and right now they're just getting ready to pack up and head to the next race. Tim Steele obviously very, very disappointed to be out of this one, given some of the success he's had here in Kentucky in the past. Let's go back upstairs.
Thank you, George. There's the 7 car, the the Pontiac of Randy Van Zant that had the tire problem, so they continue to attend to him on pit road.
The battle for 5th is really heated up. A.J. Hendrickson came up and passed Jason Rudd for 6th, and now is passing Billy Venturini going down the back straightaway to get into the top 5.
The leaders now on lap 25 here at the Channel 5 155. Our leader continues to be Frank Kimmel with Chad Blunt, John Metcalf, and Vern Slaw. 2, 3, and 4. Back with more from Sparta, Kentucky after this.
Tonight's broadcast of the Channel 5 155 is sponsored by Pork, the other white meat, Mike's Hard Lemonade, Make It Mike's, your local Mercury dealer, Outback Steakhouse, no rules, just right, Holiday Homes and Freedom Homes, and by Donato's, respect the pizza.
Well, on lap 29, we have a new lap leader. It's Frank Kimmel. Chad Blunt had the lead while we were away in break. Kimmel came back to take it back. I guess Frank got caught up in some lap traffic.
Yes, he had to check up going down the back straightaway. Chad Blunt got under him coming up off turn 4, took the lead from him, and they have had a barn burner of a race here for the last 4 laps with Frank trying to work his way back into position. Frank was really just being conservative going through lap traffic, and Chad decided he wasn't going to be that way, and Frank really turned up the wick here another notch, and now he's being really aggressive in lap traffic right now, working his way under Jason Jarrett, one of our top point men.
So Kimmel, after losing it briefly, has wrestled the lead back, and you are looking out the back of Frank Kimmel's machine at Jason Jarrett. But it was Blunt that had seized the lead momentarily while we were away. But Kimmel, the crafty veteran, has taken it back and continues to lead now as the leaders are on lap 30.
Now, Frank is just now going under Brent Sherman here. Brent's running in 18th place, so only 17 cars on the lead lap. Frank is really stretching it out here, trying to get as many cars down a lap as he can. We got a car coming on to pit road here. That would be the 54 car, Frank Caphammer.
Caphammer has had trouble before the race, now trouble during the race, and he will go to the pit to figure out exactly what the problem is. We've got a spin, and 4 is right, and the yellow comes out, and that probably looked worse than it was, but it was a major spin in turn 4, and that brings the caution flag out. I think it was Jerry Glanville.
The coach, Jerry Glanville. Boy, he's awful lucky tonight so far, because that was a pretty big spin not to hit anything. I think the coach might have closed his eyes there and did a super job of driving.
There you saw the tail end of it, and avoided what seemed to be disaster to remain in the race. Former NFL head coach Jerry Glanville, at the age of 60, told us yesterday he wants to do this 14 more years. He didn't specify as to why it has to be 14 more. That might have shaved some years off the 14, but he appears to be okay.
Well, as long as he can make it around here to the pits without shredding a tire and getting some body damage. We've seen that twice tonight with Tim Steele and Randy Van Zant, and looks like the coach is about around to the pit opening here, and hopefully he can get his tires fixed and get back out there and get after it again.
And we got a lot of cars now coming into pit on this caution, including our leader Frank Kimmel. He and our second place car Chad Blunt all electing to pit. In fact, so is John Metcalf. So 1, 2, 3 all electing to come in.
And A.J. Hendrickson stays out and will take the lead here. A little bit different strategy. Racing for points, like Frank, you have to come in on this caution. Their fuel window is somewhere between laps 50 and 60. They can't take a chance on getting another 40 lap green flag run like that and have to pit under green. They've got to come in now, get tires, get fuel. Somebody like A.J. Hendrickson that's not running for the points, he can go out and take a chance right now. He stays out there, leads the race. Hopefully he'll get a caution somewhere between lap 50 and 60 during his fuel window and be able to pit without losing a lap. He's taking a chance early, trying to win this race.
What about points? Well, you get 25 points for pre-entering and competing. So everybody that answered the bell tonight gets 25. How you qualify determines how many points you get too. You get 25 for a first place, like Metcalf did yesterday. Second place, 20, and so on down the road in 5-point increments, all the way down to 5th. Lap leader gets 5 points. Total laps, you get 5 points. And then how you finish determines how many points you get. 200 points for a first, 5 points less for each ensuing position, and bonus points too. So there's a lot on the line besides who actually goes home with the trophy. All right, we're still under caution. 33 laps in the book. Back with more here from the Kentucky Speedway after this.
And a tough night for Randy Van Zandt. They had a problem with the left front. This is a wheel bearing they think may have gone bad. Take a look down here. This tire is still smoking. Crew members trying to get it. Randy out of the car. Randy, you think he'll be able to get back in tonight?
They're going to work on it and see, but it doesn't look very good right now. Doesn't look very good at all.
Disappointing night for Randy Van Zandt. Back up to you guys.
All right, thank you, Hammer. We appreciate that. Tough night all around. Inside A.J. Hendrickson's ride, he is our current leader as they wait for this caution to be lifted because he's the only one that did not elect to pit. There's a look at our Bobcat cam in turn 3. Special thanks to our friends at Bobcat Enterprises for helping us bring you these great pictures down the back straightaway. Thank you so much, Bobcat cam. And there is the inside view of Frank Kimmel's 46 Ford from Jeffersonville, Indiana.
Now we're going to have a little bit of an interesting restart here because Jason Jarrett stayed out. Jason had pitted on lap 3, and now he's back on the tail end of the lead lap along with Jeep Flume. So they're going to be racing their heart out here to try to stay ahead of A.J. Hendrickson and company to stay on that lead lap. Hope for a quick caution where they can get that whole mile and a half of racetrack back.
A.J. Hendrickson from Mooresville, North Carolina. One more under the caution, and then we will be ready for the green flag. We're told the fastest lap tonight. Fastest lap tonight. Turned in by Kimmel at 163.220. 163.220. Fastest lap so far tonight for Frank Kimmel. To put that in perspective, John Metcalf qualified yesterday with a lap of 167.059. So just a hair slower than what it was yesterday for qualifying. And other good news tonight, 27,575.
You gotta love Kentucky.
In attendance tonight, 27,575 witnessing this firsthand live from Kentucky. We're happy you're with us witnessing it tonight here on Channel 5.
We'll give a big pat on the back to Jerry Carroll and all of his staff for that. That's a lot of homework there to get that great attendance.
Everything he touches seems to turn to gold.
I wish he'd come down and rub on my shoulders a little bit then, kid.
You might be able to arrange that. With Andy Hillenberg, I'm Ken Brew. We are waiting for the yellow to be lifted. We anticipate that now after this turn through 3 and 4. The leader's now on lap 36, and the leader at the moment, A.J. Hendrickson, with Frank Kimmel behind him. Now, and you mentioned Hendrickson did not pit. That could be a dicey maneuver here for him.
If it goes green flag for 30 laps, I think you'll see A.J. lose at least 1 lap in the pits, possibly 2. Coming down for the restart here, Jason Jarrett's bringing him down. Now they're already going to the outside there.
Look at this. Look at this.
That's
3 across almost as they cross the start-finish line.
Very aggressive there, and Jason's really going to have to work because he's going to get double teamed by Frank and A.J. both.
Now Hendrickson gamely holding off, but not for long, as Kimmel is right back in front, leading the pack as they separate down the back straightaway.
Frank, he just got shot out of a cannon there. That was, he started a couple cars before everybody else. So really, wow, they're 3 wide up in turn 3. We've got some great racing all the way back through the pack. Oh, Vern Sloss getting sideways down the front straightaway.
And into the infield, and more
Andy
trouble
Bellman.
now.
Oh,
and just
Keith
barely.
Mert spinning.
Wow, unbelievable.
They're still spinning. Brent Sherman.
Keith Mert with a great piece of driving in the 19 machine to avoid absolute disaster. Spins out into the infield, and then right below us in the 65, you have Slaw, who again kissed the wall but appears to be okay. The caution flag out again. What a great piece of driving by Mert, that man right there, to avert complete disaster. He at least has his ride up and running.
Yes, Keith was on the lead lap, running in 8th place. Vern Slaw got a little bit loose coming up off of turn 4, did about 2 or 3 tank slappers, and then spun, and 3 or 4 guys on the brakes hard, possibly little taps in the back end, got them turned around as well.
Well, we saw 3 wide racing on that last lap, and perhaps someone thought there was a groove up high, but apparently there was not. Let's take a look and see exactly what happened here.
There we go. Vern Slaw is getting a little bit loose. And like I say, he did 2 or 3 tank slappers. Andy Belmont tried to go to the inside and just had to cut her down there through the grass. I think Andy doesn't have really any damage. He'll have to pit for tires. Keith Mert got a little piece of Vern there and then spun to the inside. And then Brent Sherman, I believe, coming along here, got tagged in the back end just a little bit, trying to slow up and spun through the grass. Real close call for 4 of our drivers, but I think they'll all be able to keep going without a problem.
It'll be interesting to see if Hendrickson elects to pit here as opposed to his strategy on the last caution. We'll see. We're going to step aside just for a second. We are under caution. The leaders on lap 3 continues to be Frank Kimmel out of Jeffersonville, Indiana. Back with more 155 after this.
Tonight's broadcast of the Channel 5 155 is sponsored by AE Door and Window Company. We sell the best and service the rest. Bobcat Enterprises, the finest in construction equipment in Cincinnati, Louisville, and Lexington. Kentucky Lottery. Someone's going to win. Might as well be you. And by your Greater Cincinnati Ford dealers, an official sponsor of the Kentucky Speedway.
All right, we are in the pits of car 19, Keith Mert. We have crew chief Jeff Berg. And Jeff, what did Keith say happened out there?
This wreck in front of him, it's unavoidable, and not much damage on the car. We'll get back after him.
Had to change 4 tires. A little bit of damage on the front, but you don't think that'll make a difference?
No, it'll hurt a little bit, but we're just going to have to see how it plays out here.
Kind of a tough break to be running the way he was, but he did a great piece of driving to avoid more damage.
Yep. Yeah, we missed one, but couldn't avoid the second one.
All right. Good luck the rest of the way. All right, let's go back upstairs.
All right, George, thanks very much. Keith Mert from Paducah, Kentucky, right now with 330 points in the World Tower Mertco Chevrolet. He owns his own mechanical and utility contracting company in Paducah, and a graduate of your school, Andy.
That's right, and unfortunately for Vern Slaw and Keith Mert, they both lost a lap in that exchange. Andy Belmont was able to keep going and stayed on the lead lap, been in the pits for tires and check of damages, but like I say, I don't think Andy had any sheet metal damage. He should be okay, but unfortunately Vern and Keith both lost a lap in that exchange.
Jeep Flume in the Channel 5 Chevrolet leading the pack out of pit road.
Jeep and Jason, they also ended up going a lap down. They started on the tail end of the lead lap, but Frank obviously overpowered the field there on that restart.
You can see some of these cars trying to get heat in those tires, Andy, so that still must be a problem.
Yeah, it's going to be a problem really all evening. You've got to keep, these tires really have to have the temperature in them to get the grip that they need, or actually as close to the grip they can need. NASCAR in Kentucky.
Well, we would hope. We'll find out coming up after the race. We'll chat with several folks inside of Winston Cup and also have an exclusive interview with Richard Petty, all coming up in our after the race special right here on Channel 5. Jeff Gordon, got a chance to visit with him when I was down in Talladega about 3 weeks ago. Jeff got the Driver of the Year award while we were down there, and also got a brand new Harley Davidson motorcycle. Said it's his 4th and he doesn't drive motorbikes, so I guess he gives them away to charity.
Yeah, they could have given him the Driver of the Century award. He's really good.
On board with Andy Hendrickson, again trying to get some heat in those tires.
Now, this is really surprising me here. AJ, he stayed out again, and I just don't know when he's thinking here he's going to be able to pit for fuel.
We'll see. Under caution, 42 laps in the book. The Channel 5 155 live from Sparta, Kentucky. We'll return with more in just a moment.
Disappointing for Vern Slaw. They thought they were going to stay on the lead lap. They've just been told they've gone a lap down. He spun out back there, a little bit of damage. They gave him 4 tires, got him back in the race. They may have to bring him back in, though, but he is a lap down.
Brian Hamrick live on pit road tonight. And we're back to green. We're back racing. And Frank Kimmel is back in the lead.
A.J. Hendrickson hanging right there in second place, about 4 or 5 car lengths back. Chad Blunt in third, John Metcalf, and Ron Cox having a good run up to 5th place.
You wonder what Metcalf's strategy is after qualifying first yesterday and starting in that front grid along with Kimmel. You wonder what he is thinking about right now, seeing how dialed in Kimmel's ride is?
Well, with him not racing for points, John, that is, you have to think that his strategy is just to lead as many laps as you can and win the race. So it looks like he's starting to put on a little bit more pressure than he did early in the race, trying to get back up to the front. And we've still got a little confusion here as far as Vern Slaw on whether or not he's on the lead lap. I think he might possibly be, because he slid across the grass and didn't trip the timer. On the score monitor, he's shown a lap down, but I don't think he tripped the monitor when he slid through the grass. We're trying to get that checked out, but I think Vern is on the lead lap, but even though he's near the back of the pack.
On board with A.J. Hendrickson there. Meantime, Frank Kimmel out in front of everybody by at least a good 10 car lengths as he crosses the start-finish line now, and we move on to lap 47.
Yeah, and we're going to be within probably 10 laps here of A.J. having to come into the pit. They haven't brought him in. Oh, we got another spin on the front straightaway. They're still spinning. Brent Sherman goes around again, gets in the back of Norm Benning in his Jeep Flume.
Jeep Flume spins out into the grass right in front of the start-finish line, and another yellow flag comes out, and we're under caution again. So we'll see if Flume can punch that 5 ride up and out and back on the track, and he does.
Back going again. Restarts breed more restarts. What happens, gets the field all bunched together. Guys on cold tires. I think Jeep might have changed tires there. I don't know if cold tires came into play. Hopefully we can get a shot here of what happened. But guys having a lot of trouble getting loose coming up out of the corner.
Jeep Flume has a reputation of putting a car back on the hauler the same way he takes it off, which is exactly what every owner wants.
He's still there right now. He's going to have a little grass under there on the bottom, but other than that, he's still okay.
And there you saw out the back of Frank Kimmel's ride, and there you see on our Sky 5 shot exactly what the front of this race looks like. It looks like Frank Kimmel with everybody else trying to chase him, but again, this plays into the hands of people like A.J. Hendrickson and Chad Blunt, John Metcalf, and Ronnie Cox, because anytime you have a start off a caution, anything can happen.
Exactly. And I really need to see here if AJ comes in the pits. I mean, I'm starting to get concerned about him here. And they're going to be coming around to the 1 to go. And also we need to give a big tip of the cap to Andy Belmont. He's got a new sponsor this evening, Otoban, and putting a great run here on the lead lap, running up in 10th place. We
want to say thanks to our good friends at Holman RV Rentals. They were kind enough to provide our production crew with comfort for tonight's race. You paid a visit to my palatial trailer tonight and got to see some of the amenities that we have in there.
Yes, I did. I needed to stay there longer than an hour.
Well, we had to sell them in 1-hour increments to pay for the RV.
Now, I want to see how much horsepower you really have, Ken, because next year when we come up here, I want one too. And here we go. AJ's crew must have been listening to us because he is on pit road here for service. He'll definitely get fuel. Let's take a look to see if he gets tires as well.
Damon Lusk, the 22 machine, out of the pits, taking fuel only.
Fuel only for the 22. They are jacking up the right side here. A.J. Hendrickson's car, changing it, getting him full of fuel. Now, he will definitely be able to make it, I think, the rest of the way, where it's going to be questionable for the other guys that came in on between lap 25 and 30, whether or not they have enough fuel. Doing a good job there, making sure they get A.J. full. Now, he's going to have to hustle around, catch the back of the field, because they're coming around for the green flag.
Meantime, farther on back pit road is Jeep Flume in the Channel 5 car, and they are working not only on tires, they were also working on a little body work as well.
Several other cars on pit road coming to top off. Billy Venturini, Todd Bowser, Jerry Glanville, Brent Sherman back in.
There's Flume out of the pits in the Channel 5 right track Chevrolet.
And he's going to have to hurry. He can't break the speed limit here, but the pace car's coming off the track right now, so I think Jeep's going to lose a lap here in turns 1 and 2.
But still in the game as we look down from the air in Sky 5. Crowd comes to its feet as the green flag is out, and we're back to racing. 49 laps now, 50 for the leaders in the book.
Frank jumping out there again, got that lead. Chad Blunt's hung up there on the outside. We're running around the lap car, so Frank's going to stretch it out on him here going down the back straightaway.
Well, if you're Blunt or if you're Metcalf, if you're Cox, what do you do with Kimmel, who obviously has the best machine in the race right now?
honestly, I think they just got to keep him in sight so he knows that they're back there, and hopefully they can get in lap traffic like what happened before, where Frank had to be conservative because he had such a big lead, and then Chad was able to run right through there because he didn't have anything to lose. And really that's what they got to hope for right now, is to get into lap traffic and hope that Frank is a little bit conservative going through there.
There you see 7 is Howard, 8 is Rudd, and then 9, 10 are Gibson and Andy Belmont.
Andy Belmont having a great run. As we mentioned, his new sponsor here for him this evening. Really proud of him. He's worked his way steadily up through the top 10, running in 8th place right now. We're looking out the back of Frank Kimmel's car.
That's what he's looking at.
You're seeing more and more pavement there between, but back to the next car. And coming up, actually Jeep was able to hang on, but Frank's coming up on his outside right now to put him that other lap down.
Difference in horsepower certainly in a lot of these cars, and Frank Kimmel seems to have more of it than anyone, and not just here at Kentucky, but week to week.
Well, yeah, and when you're working good, I mean, you know, his crew, they're working great together. His setups are good. His cars are great. The engines, all of it's working good. And then when you start running as well as he does week in and week out, you see this is the kind of performance that you get to expect.
And he, of course, is dabbling in Winston Cup. He's got a limited schedule. He's running in Winston Cup. He ran last week at Richmond, had a terrible crack-up. Had some problems down in Talladega, too, a couple of weeks before that. But this is a guy who fancies himself as a Winston Cup driver. And
looking at Ron Cox there.
And in the pit, there's Brett Sherman getting some attention to his Chevrolet. But to finish the thought on Kimmel, he thinks that he's just about ready for a full Winston Cup ride. Now, whether or not he can find the sponsor money is another thing.
We got a tire going down here on the back straightaway. I believe it's Vern Slaw, looks like. A lot of sparks. We got a caution out now.
All kinds of sparks coming out of the back of Slaw's ride.
And, oh, yeah, he had to have contact up off with the wall coming out of turn 2.
Caution out. There's the yellow flag.
Unfortunately, that might end Vern's evening. He got a piece of the wall coming out of turn 2.
He's got a lot of body damage, as you can see, to the right side of that car.
Boy, I tell you what, there's a couple other guys that we haven't talked too much about. Michael Verger's up to 4th place.
Body damage. That wheel looked like it was a pitching machine at a baseball cap.
Yeah, that's a bad thing. And I mean, I'm sure Vern will come to the attention of the crew, but they'll probably make that hard left into the garage area here. Yep, and that's exactly where he's heading.
Nope, can't run on 3, not in this man's league. Vern Slaw from Zeeland, Michigan will go back behind the wall as the yellow flag remains out.
As we were talking about there, Ron Cox, this is one of the best runs I've seen Ron Cox have on a Speedway. Really proud of him, running at number 50 there for the ARCA 50th anniversary and up in the top 5. A really super run for him. Chase Montgomery, they're playing bumper tag as they get the one to go. He's pulling up on Frank's inside. He's the first car a lap down, running in 13th place.
One more, as you can see, one more under caution, and then they will go again. So no debris on the track. Most of it just hanging off of the ride of Vern Slaw.
Our friend AJ here back in 9th place. Here we have Mark Gibson in the pit area. Looks like they're doing a 4-tire stop for Mark. He'll be able to go to the distance. Mark is currently being shown in 11th place, but pitting there, that'll put Billy Venturini ahead of him up to 11th and drop Mark back to 12th, being the 12th car on the lead lap.
Oh, we could talk about this for a second. We were told on that last, or 2 cautions ago, which I believe was lap 25, and my word, look at the damage done to that car by the wall. That is or what's left of Vern Slaw's ride. We were told when Kimmel and Blunt both took full tanks of gas and new tires on lap 25 that they thought, or their pit thought, that they would be able to finish out on that. But that seems like a dicey game to be playing this early in the race.
Absolutely. That's an awful lot of laps that they have to go. But the one thing that's saving them here is they're getting a lot of caution laps. Generally, you can figure caution laps as 2.5 to 1 as we go back to green as Frank brings them down to the line. Big scramble for position back further in the pack.
Well, he's neck and neck there with Chase Montgomery, but Montgomery a lap down to Kimmel. So he not in contention at this point, but could
he's going to give Frank a run here. He wants that lap back really bad.
Could perhaps do some work for some guys behind him. We'll see.
If he can get that lap, and we've been having these sudden restarts here as he outdrives Frank into the turn there. Frank not giving him much. Wow, Chase not giving him any room at all. We've got a spin back in turn 4.
Another spin and another car down on the infield.
No caution.
Not yet. In fact, no caution and apparently no damage, because right back out on the track and right back in.
Whoa, Chase goes around. He was pushing it too hard coming off turn 2. Chase Montgomery sliding down, hasn't hit anything yet.
And
hopefully he'll be able to go. Caution is out. He was wanting a caution, but not to be it.
Well, he's just sitting there as the yellow flag comes out and appears to be still under his own power as he makes the U-turn and comes back out onto the track.
That young man was racing his heart out there for a lap and a half, trying to get that lap back, and had to really hold it down. He almost got into Frank coming out of turn 4, and he just had to keep pinching the car down. And when you're running that fast, you have to have all the racetrack, and he just pinched it down, lost the banking there coming off turn 2, and back in came around on him.
Let me ask you a question about Frank Kimmel as we watch what happened here between he and Chase Montgomery. And this is, folks, this is what they refer to as just good hard racing. And sometimes that's what happens. Any jealousy with Kimmel because he is so good and seems to be so infallible?
Oh, I don't know. I'm sure there is some in the garage, but, you know, I'm glad Frank's out there. And, I mean, he's the target, you know. And in 95, I was fortunate enough to be the target for a while. And right now, he's the target. So I think he's proud, and I'm proud to try to race with him.
Well, there you see as we continue on under caution. And while the caution flag is out, we'll step away. More racing to come here in Sparta. Kimmel continues to lead on this, the 6th caution flag of the race.
Tonight's broadcast of the Channel 5 155 is sponsored by Pork, the other white meat, Mike's Hard Lemonade, Make It Mike's, your local Mercury dealer, Outback Steakhouse, no rules, just right, Holiday Homes and Freedom Homes, and by Donato's, respect the pizza.
All right, we are back behind the pit wall where you're looking at the damage of the 65 car belonging to Vern Slaw. Vern's with us now, and seems like there's a lot of bumping going on out there. What happened to you?
Well, I'm not sure. You never know until you look at the tape. We had an awfully good car. The guys worked really hard. We qualified 4th, and I just feel so bad for the help because they were just all pumped up, and we had a good starting spot. We were running 3rd or 4th on the first yellow, and I lost it into 4 going around the lap car, and that started the problems. We got to the back, and the car wasn't steering right, so I'm not sure what happened, but I feel bad. Beautiful facility here. Just love to run here. People are so gracious, and we had a really good time, but I didn't want it to end this way.
Oh, no doubt about it. A disappointment for Vern Slaw. Hopefully we'll see you back here sometime,
okay.
All right? All right, Vern Slaw, let's go back up to the booth.
Hey, George, that's a Coca-Cola Vern has, right?
Let's see. No, actually, it's some water.
Oh,
He's
okay.
He may get the stronger stuff in just a little bit here.
I just wanted to clarify that. We're back under green now, and Kimmel back to the front as that green flag drops.
And some fresh faces up front. Jason Rudd in 2nd, Andy Belmont up to 3rd, Shelby Howard up to 4th. Starting to make some noise up there in the front of the pack.
Well, let's see if any of those can challenge Kimmel, at least for the moment. No, as he opens about a 10-car length lead.
Well, he's getting such a good jump out there as we watch Andy Belmont drive off into the corner there, chasing Jason Rudd. He's getting such a good jump on these guys, and they're having to deal with lap traffic when they get over in turn 1. And here we go, Andy Belmont trying to make a move here on Jason Rudd, coming to 2nd place. Shelby Howard sticking right with him. A.J. Hendrickson going up to the outside of Shelby. Great racing here, all for the 2nd spot.
Shelby Howard in the 64.
All right, my little buddy Andy's hanging in there. He's got that 2nd spot. Great job.
Howard, the teenager.
Howard's the youngest driver ever to compete in an ARCA race, and has got him several top 10 finishes, and it wouldn't surprise me to see him win a race this year.
62 laps in the book, 33 under green, 29 under caution.
We've seen a lot here this evening, and I don't think it's over yet. I mean, you know, Frank obviously has the dominant car, but there's still a lot of guys here that have a shot at winning this race. On that last caution, we had John Metcalf in the pit, Michael Vergers, Chad Blunt, and Ron Cox all pitted, and they are definitely good to go now on fuel. The only one that we're unsure about is Frank Kimmel.
Well, NASCAR returns to Channel 5 beginning July 13th with the first of 16 Winston Cup and Busch Series races. And only Channel 5 has live coverage of the remaining races from Indianapolis, Talladega, Charlotte, and many, many other Winston Cup tracks. The NASCAR team race for the championship you'll see only on Channel 5.
Riding along there with A.J. Hendrickson, who's moved up to 4th place. Having a great run tonight. Really like what we're seeing out of him. He's starting to hound Jason Rudd here a little bit for 3rd place. Starting to work him over. Real smooth behind the wheel. Doing a great job.
Don't see any more of that 3 and 4 wide racing that we saw momentarily.
No, it's calmed down. We've got several, 2 wide. That outside groove, I wouldn't say that it's coming in, but it's definitely better than it was at the beginning of the race. And here we are back with AJ, who's, like I say, he's trying to get under there, trying to nose his way underneath Jason Rudd. Jason having a great run there in 3rd. Rolling out of it nice and smooth into the corner, picking up the throttle. Got on it just a tick earlier, and Jason might have a little bit of a run here. Not enough to do anything with it, though.
Andy Belmont has moved up into 2nd place, but still a good distance behind our leader, Frank Kimmel.
Frank's not opening up on Andy. I mean, I tell you what, there's been, this is the 5th race, and Andy Belmont's been in position to win 2 of the races. This is actually, I feel like he's off to the best start he's had here in ARCA in the past 4 or 5 years. And I really like how he's running this race here. Running very smart race. We know he's good to go on fuel. We know he's good to go on tires. I think he might have a shot tonight.
That's the voice of Andy Hillenberg, who in 1995 won the points championship here in the ARCA RE Series, and now teaches drivers how to drive. Still drives himself. In fact, he'll be driving next weekend.
Yeah, looking forward to that. We'll be in the Winston Open driving for Dave Marcus. Really looking forward to that. I'd really like to be back up here at the Indianapolis 500 again, but not this year. Maybe another year or 2 we'll be back.
You drove an Indy in 2000, right?
Yes, sir. Had the time of my life. That was the neatest thing I've ever done.
Say there's no feeling in the world like coming over that brick start finish. Just the way it clicks.
Yep.
You know that you've arrived when you can feel that. Well, these drivers know they've arrived when they're trying to match witch and horsepower with Frank Kimmel, and so far Kimmel is outwitting them and out horsepowering everybody else in the field.
Still looking at this battle here for 3rd place. AJ just not willing to let Jason get too far ahead of him. Jason pulled out a couple car lengths in lap traffic here. AJ didn't cut him very much room there, going around Mike Buckley there on the outside. Going into turn 3, coming down here down the front straightaway. Frank Kimmel starting to get into heavy traffic going into turn 1. Andy Belmont probably a 5th of straightaway or so behind him.
And that's no small trick, navigating around lap traffic. It is probably the best hope that the people behind Kimmel have of trying to catch him, but he's weaving in and out like somebody late for a meeting in Louisville.
Oh, 3 wide in lap traffic there. Well, we got a spin up in turn 3 and 4. Looks like A.J. Hendrickson going around, getting up into the outside concrete. It is.
And you can see by the inboard camera.
Across the racetrack there. Wow. Still not done wrecking.
Man.
Tough break there. We've got another car that spun down there. I don't know if that's Jason or not. No.
Well, first things
haven't got
first.
an ID on the other car there, but
and there's Hendrickson inside his ride, and obviously not happy, and obviously done for the night. Wow.
The other car involved was Todd Bowsher. Todd spun and kept going.
All right, lap 70 is where the leaders sit. It continues to be Frank Kimmel and everybody else. Back with more here from Sparta in the Channel 5 155 after this.
We are looking at Frank Kimmel. Frank on pit road.
And he was concerned about not having enough fuel left.
In the middle lane. Okay, all the way to the outside lane.
That's big.
4,000
That's big.
here.
All along, I just felt like he was going to be a couple laps short. And now, obviously, they're starting to get nervous about it, too. Frank's going to have to go back because only 4 lead lap cars came in the 46, 22, 25 of Billy Venturini and Ron Cox.
Let's listen a little bit here as he chatters with his spotter.
All lead lap cars, so you will have, you'll be in about the, probably about the 8th or 9th position here on the restart.
big development
I
there.
heard them tell him stay in that middle lane, so obviously they've determined that's probably, at least at this point, where the best pitch is.
That's big. I mean, you always want to be up in front of the pack.
Yeah, the car's everything's fine, buddy.
So that tires are
Yep.
gripping, so that's good.
Yeah, they want. I mean, you always want to be up in the front of the pack, but I mean, I can't believe they didn't come in on one of the earlier cautions and already been back up to the lead right now. Frank obviously has a good car, but as we've seen, been a lot of trouble in the middle of the pack here today, and you know, you don't want to get wrapped up in that with such a dominant race car. So, kind of second guessing here what kind of calls they are. I mean, they've got a pit if they think they're going to run out, but can't believe they did that. Let's go down to Ron Hamrick.
Hey, Brian.
Yeah, the caution out because of A.J. Hendrickson. They were running in great shape. They had put on the tires. They had the fuel to go the distance. They were running very well out of the race. Now I'm with the crew chief, Lou Seipold. Lou, how's it going?
Well, I wish I could tell you we're leading the race right now, but it's just one of them racing deals. I mean, he got clipped by a lap car. I don't know what to say, you know.
Yeah, no idea what happened out there just yet.
No, not yet until we talk to him. As long as he's all right, that's the main thing.
Tough night for A.J. Hendrickson. Back to you guys in the booth.
All right, Brian, lap 73 still under caution. Back with more from the Kentucky Speedway as A.J. Hendrickson's night is over after this.
Tonight's broadcast of the Channel 5 155 is sponsored by AE Door and Window Company. We sell the best and service the rest. Bobcat Enterprises, the finest in construction equipment in Cincinnati, Louisville, and Lexington. Kentucky Lottery. Someone's going to win. Might as well be you. And by your Greater Cincinnati Ford dealers, an official sponsor of the Kentucky Speedway.
Pace car is off. Green flag has dropped. And we're ready to go racing once again. And Andy Belmont, for the moment, has the lead.
Andy leading him off. Jason Rudd stuck right with him on that restart, already putting the pressure on him. Andy trying to pull away here. I think he's really got something for him. As I mentioned earlier, he's driven a great race tonight. Jeff Lemons has done some great pit strategy for him. And that Oda Van wheel control Ford is really hustling now. I like his chances.
Now where's Frank Kimmel? He's trapped back behind some traffic and a big wreck as they go spinning into turn number 3. It has been a problem all night. It is a problem again. Just not even a lap after the restart.
Cold tires, that and a little bit of contact, it looks like here going into turn 3.
Looks like Jeep Flume is involved in that in the Channel 5 car. The yellow flag comes out immediately. And
I think that's also Ron Cox. Looks like he might have got a piece of that. Ron was having a career super speedway run. Double checking that for you right now. Yes, it is.
Wow. Flume apparently is okay. He is kind of like
pulling behind the wall. There we see Brad Smith in the 26 car. That's his own race car. Boy, tough break there for a couple competitors. Yeah. Like I say, really hated to see that for Ron Cox. He was on the lead lap. Like I say, having a career super speedway night. Ran up in the top 5 there a lot. Having a really good run. And I tell you what, Frank Kimmel got stuck in traffic.
Yes, he did.
And I think that's going to be a problem for him. I mean, with less than 30 laps to go, he may not have enough time to run down Andy if he can get any kind of lead at all here.
Let's talk about our good friends at Bobcat. They are just terrific sponsors, and there is a look at the Bobcat cam on top of those scissors.
I wonder if he's got a parachute. That's right where those cars crashed, too.
Yes.
That was a pretty nerve-wracking shot.
Special thanks to our good friends at Bobcat Enterprises for helping us bring you these great pictures from the back straightaway. Well, we know right where that Bobcat cam is. We know that's where the trouble is. It was there yesterday in practice. It was there to a degree in happy hour, and it has been there tonight.
And the field gets the one to go here as we're watching Frank Kimmel snaking the car back and forth, trying to get get the tires cleaned up, keep a little bit of heat in them here for this restart, because I really feel like these next 5 laps are kind of going to dictate his chances on being able to win this race, breaking through that pack. If Andy Belmont and Jason Rudd can break away to any kind of lead here and not racing each other side by side right off, I think they got a really good shot of running 1 and 2 here.
Our leaders at the top of the screen. All right, let me ask you this question, a little politically correct, perhaps, question. Any blocking that would go on? Maybe just, you know, let's see if someone else can win this thing besides Kimmel. Does that go on?
No, not really. I mean, you can't afford to because, I mean, it's too easy to get turned around. These race cars are too expensive. I mean, you know, dealing with race car drivers' health and lives and so forth, that stuff really doesn't go on except in the movies. Maybe every once in a while, but not at this level.
Telling me I've watched too much Days of Thunder. Right?
Andy Belmont breaks off into a good lead. Jason Rudd is stuck there on the outside of a lap car. Chase Montgomery, that's going to let Andy Belmont get a shot ahead here. Now Chase Montgomery is, you know, spun there on the inside of Frank Kimmel. Now he's going to come up and try to give Andy Belmont a run for his money. Well, Frank Kimmel not going through traffic there, making a pretty good run.
That's Kimmel in the 46 Ford, and you can see him trying to get through all this lap traffic and back to where he thinks he belongs. But it's Belmont for the moment that has the lead. Andy Belmont out of Pendle, Pennsylvania, qualifying 21st on Friday, but with the lead right now and a healthy one by about, one would guess, 10 car lengths.
And if he can look back there and see Frank stuck in traffic just like this shot here, I mean, you know, Frank has the fastest car on the racetrack, but he's stuck. I mean, the inside groove's taken up with Shelby Howard there, Chad Blunt on the outside trying to work his way up through the pack as well.
Through that dicey turn 3.
Frank gets up around the outside there, having to be a little bit more aggressive, I think, than he really feels like he needs to be right here at this stage. And John Metcalf gets by him on the inside.
On Metcalf.
Well, maybe Metcalf has found some magic in that last turn in the pits.
Well, it's showtime. I mean, we're down inside now, 25 laps to go. We're working on lap 80. We got 10 cars on the lead lap here. Frank back there in 6th spot.
Let's go down to George Vogel. He is standing by in the Frank Kimmel pit. George.
Yeah, we have Frank's crew chief, his brother Bill. How confident are you that there's enough time left in this race to get through that traffic and get back on top?
Well, the Vance Auto Parts support car has been running really good all night. He must have got a little loose going in turn a few minutes ago because he lost some time. But I think if we keep going like he has been, I think we'll be fine. Looks like the one car's getting a little bit of a lead. We need to hustle up some.
Now, well, do you think the one car will have to come back in? I think he's only been in the pits once.
I think they go the rest of the way on the green. We've had enough yellows. They shouldn't have a gas problem.
And quickly, you want to give some best wishes to a pit crew member who isn't here tonight.
Yeah, John Hendren, he's helped us for a long time. He fell off the trailer the other day, and he's in the hospital. And we wish John all the best. I hope he's here with us today.
All right, Bill, thanks a lot. Get back to racing. All right. Bill Kimmel, Frank's brother, the crew chief. Let's go back upstairs.
Thank you, George. Andy Belmont in the 1 with the lead. You're looking at Frank Kimmel, and you are looking at the same thing he is looking at, a sight he has not seen a lot of today. Cars ahead of him on this racetrack.
And Chad Blunt just made a move on Jason Rudd going into turn 1, dropped him back to 3rd place. And Chad Blunt looking like he might show a little bit of muscle here right now. Looks like he's closed up a couple car lengths on Andy this past couple laps.
Andy Belmont, we said out of Pendle, PA, 45 years old. He is no Johnny come lately to this sport. He has been top 10 in points the last 4 years. And in 1987 was Rookie of the Year of the NASCAR Goodies Dash Series.
Doing a great job tonight. You know, getting that new sponsor, it definitely pumped Andy up a little bit, and it's great to see him get a really good run here from that wheel control Ford.
We are going to award the best pit stop of the race award coming up right after the race. UDF and the great folks at Mobil are the sponsors of this, so stay tuned for that. The best pit stop of the race award here from the Kentucky Speedway.
20 laps to go, Ken. You're fixing to see a really big 4-car shootout because the 3 cars behind Andy are actually closing in a little bit. You got Chad Blunt, Jason Rudd's kind of holding his own there as we see Frank trying to work under him. Jason doing an outstanding job here this evening, running along in 3rd place, and then Frank in 4th. I think we're going to have a 4-car race here pretty soon for the lead.
Well, certainly Kimmel is in better shape than he was at least 2 laps ago as he begins to weave his way now closer to the front. He is a gifted driver. There is no question about that. A lot is made of the types of machines that he has to work with, the great crew he has to work with, the dollars he has to work with, but he is a terrific driver. And this is where the driving aspect of comes in for Frank Kimmel. He has to get back to where he was, and the only way he gets there is to work around all the traffic in front of him.
Andy Belmont there looking at him. they're closing in on him a little bit.
Well, the fans are getting ready for a dash to the finish. We are too. Back with more from the Kentucky Speedway and the Channel 5 155 after this. Our Bobcat cam in turn 3. Chad Blunt now has the lead in this race on lap 90. Let's go to Brian Hamrick on pit road.
We're here with Andy Belmont's crew chief here. How are things looking?
Well, we just got past the lead and going back to third and the fourth. Car's just getting off the corner, just a little bit tight, but fourth place is pretty good from where we started.
You guys are looking pretty good, though. You can go the whole way.
Yeah, we're going to go the whole way on gas. We'll make it no problem.
Lots of tension up here. Back up to you.
All right, Hammer. It's Blunt with the lead. Kimmel on him, but Blunt's lead now about 5 car lengths as the leader's now on lap 91.
Lap traffic. This is really dictating here. See, Chad had to go around the outside. Frank was able to apex the corner fine and be able to gain quite a bit there on Chad going through lap traffic. It's really where and how you catch him. Chad, like, he caught him in the wrong spot there. Frank's down the apex, closes right up there, gains a couple car lengths on him.
Chad Blunt, the 22-year-old Indianan, with the lead right now. Let's go to Brian again, who's down on pit road. Brian?
All right, we are down in Chad Blunt's pit with crew chief and father Bob Blunt. And Bob, you got to be pleased where we are right now. Can you hold off Frank?
I'm tickled to death. I just hope we can keep it out there another 10 or 12 laps or that.
Well, what's the key to holding this lead? The key to holding this lead is?
Good race cars and a good motor.
And a good crew chief, too, right?
Yep. We hired a consultant to help us do these bigger tracks there, and he's taught us a lot.
All right, these guys are going bonkers in the pit of Chad Blunt. We're going to see how it plays out. Let's go back to Ken and Andy.
We got George and Hammer mixed up. George would like Hammer's bills, and Hammer would like George's lifestyle, but so be it. And Chad Blunt and Frank Kimmel duking it out. Blunt.
I'm really impressed with how Chad came through that lap traffic, and he's still got that 4 or 5 car length lead that he's gonna need. Now we're on an open track. We're gonna see right now who's got the fastest car. They're coming down to get 10 to go right now.
There you see it, Blunt and Kimmel. Blunt 4th at Daytona, 2nd at Atlanta. He won the pole in that race. 6th at Nashville. Then he had that accident on the short track at Salem. But this kid knows how to drive. He has no full-time sponsor. It's a Dodge dealer back home that is providing most of the funding for Chad Blunt. He is having a terrific 2002 and right now having a very good Saturday night.
And coming up off turn 2, he's been the strongest car here the last half of the race. That is the one strong point that he has. I think Frank might be a little bit better getting into 1, but Chad sure seems to be a little bit better coming up out of turn 2. Maintaining.
Got to be so discerning. Or so disconcerting, I should say, for a 22-year-old to look into that rearview mirror and see Frank Kimmel right on his tail. But this is what separates the good drivers, and if Chad Blunt is able to hold off Frank Kimmel tonight, this will be a major, major coup for him.
Oh, yeah. I mean, running up front in the points, I mean, this is what they need to dictate a solid championship run, is to get a win that first 4th of the season. All
right, so it's become a 2-man shootout right here as Jason Rudd and Andy Belmont have kind of filtered back behind Blunt and Kimmel. Kimmel was interesting when he went into the pits the last time. They said take the center slot. We got a spin in turn 2.
Leader's coming to it. Everybody gets, whoa, Chad is almost in the back of a couple cars, and Frank Kimmel gets by inside 10 laps to go. They're allowed to race back to the caution. I think Frank just got the lead.
Well, he certainly has the lead now on Blunt as the caution flag is out and a major and a fortuitous turn of events for Frank Kimmel. Caution flag out, yellow out again here at the Kentucky Speedway, and Kimmel has put at least 10 cars between him and Chad Blunt.
Wow, that's big. Frank Kimmel getting the lead there in that situation.
Outside the front of Frank Kimmel's car, inboard camera. We're going to step away just for a second. On our 9th caution of the race, the Channel 5 155 continues from the Kentucky Speedway after this. All right, on board Frank Kimmel here at the Kentucky Speedway. Kimmel can continue to race inside of 10 laps. Explain this rule here.
Right. In ARCA, they freeze the field when the caution comes out, except when you're inside 10 laps to go. When you're inside 10 laps to go, which we were on 9 to go, then you're allowed to race back to the caution. Chad Blunt slowed up for the spin in front of him. Frank was far enough back where he didn't have to check up, could see where the car went, and went on by. And we see, and there it is on the replay. And Frank never really had to check up, got the lead. Chad's tried to pull up and go around him here on the yellow, but there we see Chad having to brake really heavy for those 2 cars up in front of him. And Frank scooted by right on the inside. Great veteran move there.
And Frank Kimmel uses that to retake the lead here. We have right now in the bank 99 laps. So this next lap will be 100.
You gotta love a race like this. Now Chad Blunt, I mean, that really wasn't his fault because he didn't have anywhere to go.
Just bad luck.
It was just bad luck, bad timing, but he's really in there just saying, let me at him, let me have a shot at him. So we got the rookie here that's going to be putting extraordinary heat on the veteran on these last couple laps once we go back to green. 104 lap race. They just got the 5 to go, 5 laps in the race to go, and they still haven't gotten the 1 to go to go back to green.
Billy Venturini getting some attention in the pit.
Billy having a good race in the 9th spot. We've got 10 cars on the lead lap. That'll drop Billy back to 10th place, but 10 cars on the lead lap.
Well, when they come to green, this probably will decide who wins this race, Frank Kimmel or Chad Blunt.
I don't know. I really like how Chad's coming up off of turn 2. If he can keep up with Frank Kimmel going into turn 1, I think he might be able to get a fender inside of him coming up out of 2.
Frank Kimmel looking out and seeing only the pace car. He was sweating it just a little bit about 10 laps ago, but since this caution, and a very fortuitous caution for him, he has retaken the lead.
They're coming to the 1 to go, so when they come around and get the green, we'll have 3 laps to go in this race. We've got a car really slow on the apron over in turn 3. Hopefully he'll be able to make it around and not affect the green flag finish of this race.
And look at these drivers now, even this late in the race, trying to get some heat in those tires.
Yes, and we're inside the 10 laps to go, which means all the lead lap cars get to pull up to the front of the pack in single file order. So our top 10 are the first 10 cars that will be taking the green on this restart. Going through that top 10, I mean, we've got Frank Kimmel, Chad Blunt, Jason Rudd running a heck of a race, running in 3rd, Andy Belmont in 4th that led earlier, John Metcalf, our pole sitter, Michael Vergers in 6th spot, Mark Gibson having a good run in 7th, Damon Lusk in 8th. Damon only has high gear in his transmission, having trouble on the restarts. Shelby Howard in 9th, Billy Venturini in 10th for our lead lap cars.
For those of you scoring at home, Kimmel's fastest lap was his 83rd lap, 165.756, so very close to the qualifying speed yesterday that took this pole. Belmont's fastest, Andy Belmont's fastest, 163.21. Belmont pitted on the 40th lap. He should not have to pit again. Kimmel, our leader, has led 68 of the 100 laps in the book so far.
It'll be 3 to go when they come to the line. Pace car's coming off. That car did not make it back to pit road, but I think they're going to go ahead and go green anyway. That car that stalled there on the inside.
Yep, green flag's out.
All right, Chad's already putting heat on him.
Yeah, right on the back fender of Kimmel.
We're going to have a shootout. And he pulls up inside Frank going into turn 1. I told you he was really going to be kicking himself. Wow, Frank slams the door on him there in turn 1.
And just opens up some clean air as they come through turn 2.
This is going to be big. You've got that rookie that's hungry for that first win, and I mean, I really think he's going to be sitting up on top of the wheel. I mean, he is. He has been all night. Now they're coming down. 2 laps to go.
2 laps to go as Kimmel at this point with a 4-car lead over Blunt. And Blunt maybe not having the horsepower at this point, but certainly having the heart as he continues to be right on Kimmel's tail.
Jason Rudd there holding on to 3rd place.
Oh, a spin out.
Whoa.
But I think, okay, no problem. We're through it.
You made me nervous there, Ken.
We're okay.
We're coming around for the white flag here. Be about 2-car length lead there for Frank. The white flag is out.
And here we go, 1 lap to go.
He can't drop his guard, but as long as he can keep running laps like he has been here, I mean, he's in great shape.
Well, Chad Blunt is going to have a good night one way or the other. He will certainly add to his points total. Kimmel,
yeah, but he's going to be kicking himself.
Kimmel wants the cup. There's no question about that. Blunt has basically 2 turns to try and catch him. It has been a 2-horse race for the last 10 laps.
He closes in there a little
bit. Kimmel now in front. Blunt on his tail. Checker flag is out. And Frank Kimmel will take the checker flag. The third time in 3 tries for Kimmel here at the Kentucky Speedway. He is our Channel 5 155 winner tonight. Frank Kimmel. There is the scene in his pit. There is Kimmel. And Frank Kimmel has won it again.
Wow.
2 wins last year, and now in the first of 2 ARCA races this year, a win for Frank Kimmel as well. And as they come up on the back straightaway, Blunt and Kimmel pass side by side, and I'm sure congratulations from Blunt to a man who is certainly a champion. When we come back, we're going to hear from the champ, Frank Kimmel. We'll also be able to hear from Chad Blunt and his crew as well. And afterwards, a complete racing special featuring a lot of your Winston Cup favorites. Back in just a moment.
Frank, he drove it in the turn. He drove it until he got back ahead.
Well, good evening and welcome back to the Channel 5 155. We just had the big winner, and we have Brian Hamrick standing by down with the pit crew right now.
Yeah, let's go to Brian right now. Frank Kimmel, the big winner tonight.
Well, we're with Bill Kimmel, his brother, and also pit crew chief. Some tough words here from the 77 cars crew chief.
Well, I think it's just a heat of a moment. I mean, he complained on that last yellow when Frank passed him back, coming for the yellow actually. And the ARCA rule is with 10 to go, you race back to the yellow. And I mean, the 77 car was actually, I mean, he was better than we were when he was in front of us. When he got in behind us, I think when Frank took some air off the front of the car, his car seemed to push a little bit. So I mean, yeah, that's part of racing. That was the only chance he did. I mean, I think that the experience Frank had, knowing the rule, and Chad being a rookie, I mean, I think it paid off tonight.
You guys got to be excited about the win.
Awfully excited. I mean, it's my little boy's birthday. You know, Mother's Day is tomorrow. My mom's here. I mean, it's a big night for us.
Big night for the Kimmels. Back up to you guys.
Thank you.
Thanks, Brian. Now let's go to Sky 5 now, where we can look down on Winner's Circle now. A lot of celebrations underway here at the Kentucky Speedway at this hour.
Yeah, we can tell you the pit crew, Kimmel's pit crew, just ran up to the fence here at the Kentucky Speedway, climbed up on the fence in celebration, probably about 15, 20 feet up.
That's right, and there's an overhang, so they couldn't actually get over to see Frank, but they wanted to let him know that they were celebrating, that they felt like they were very much a part of this big victory tonight. Of course, the veteran driver who won over $500,000 last year in winnings, the winner here tonight for the Channel 5 155.
And he led for a good portion of the race too tonight. It was fun to watch. It was exciting, and there were a few slow moments in this race as well. Let's check in with Ken Brew right now. He has a little post-race analysis for us. Ken?
Well, back up here in the broadcast booth, it had turned into a 2-man shootout at the end, Andy Hillenberg, and I thought, frankly, and I thought the crew chief, Bill Kimmel, said it best. It was a question of an older, more seasoned driver, frankly, getting the better of a younger guy. But I'm telling you, watch out for Chad Blunt, because this guy is an up-and-comer.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, with Frank's experience, that made the difference. I mean, when he saw those cars up there and he was back far enough that he didn't have to check up all the way like Chad did, being close to that spinning car and then the 2 cars on the brakes hard, Chad had nowhere to go. And Frank was back far enough where he could get that run. And, you know, with Frank, like I say, being the veteran, he didn't stomp on the brakes. Chad had no choice. He had to slow down, and that's just the way it worked out.
And I think you saw on that particular sequence how a driver like Kimmel, who is so gifted and has so many things to work with, how he can be had in a race like that. It's often things that are out of your control that play into exactly how well you do or don't do in a race.
Absolutely. As that race went along, I mean, we were both questioning the call of bringing Frank in on lap 71. I can't believe they waited that long, and it almost cost him the race, because had that spin not happened, Frank really would have had a handful trying to get around Chad under green.
So obviously this is his track. He has won 2 races last year, now this race this year. The only thing he didn't win here was the pole yesterday. He certainly made up for that tonight. And obviously it has been a big night for Frank Kimmel. We're going to go back down to George Vogel. George?
Hey, we are with the winner, Frank Kimmel. Frank, what a run, baby. You got to be happy about this.
Well, we really are. That was a great race. And Jerry Carroll asking me to make a good race, but I didn't mean to. You have to thank Chad Blunt for that. That was you know, he raced me clean. Everybody talks about these rookies and how you can't trust them, but man, Chad treated me great all day. We had a lot of fun racing side by side, and it was a good race for the fans, I hope.
But you made a great veteran move. When that yellow came out, it seemed like he slowed down either to get through the wreck and get through the traffic, but you just kept on busting, and that's what gave you the lead.
Well, it was just the luck of the draw, really. He had already made a decision to go to the outside of the slow car, which he was running great on the outside, and they started spinning up into him, and it opened up the bottom groove. I was able to get on it and go, and it just caught him. It was just a bad lucky break for him, and lucky break for me. But I got to thank him for treating me great. But this Advanced Auto Parts Ford Taurus she's pretty stubborn. We wanted to win pretty bad today. This is home.
And you came in with about 30 laps to go or so for a pit stop and got back out there, and you were, what, in about 8th place? Were you confident you could get back up there?
Well, I thought we could get up there for sure, but I didn't know if I could pass him. And then once I got up to Chad, my nose started pushing pretty bad up behind him. I'd catch up 2 or 3 car lengths, and then I'd shove up off the turn. And, we'll work on that, get that a little bit better, but this old car was pretty tough today.
How about that late restart? I mean, he got right up on you, right underneath the back bumper, and that was some great racing, and you were able to slam the door. How'd you do it?
Well, he treated me really clean. He was a real gentleman racer there. He could have pushed up and got into me, and, I gave him, I think, just about a car length. I didn't give him any more, and, I'm sure he didn't expect me to give him any more. And once I saw his nose fade off, I cut left to get over in front of him, and I was hoping he'd have the same trouble I was having when I got behind him, and I think he did, because he did a good job on that restart. I got away really good, and he was right there with me, but he's a good little racer. He's a lot of fun.
Well, I know we talked about this car a week ago, Mabel, named after your mom. It came through again.
It really did, and this is Mother's Day, and I don't think of any better way I can win for her is or give her a present to win this race for her, and thank my wife and everything. She's home watching my son race at the Sportstrom and taking care of my daughter who's playing volleyball all day. So been a busy day for the Kimmels, but happy Mother's Day to all the moms, and we couldn't get to do this if it wasn't for them.
Frank, you're a great winner. Congratulations winning a Channel 5 155. Frank Kimmel, let's go back upstairs.
All right, a very happy crowd there with horsepower right in the background. Thanks, George.
Yeah, horsepower just grinning ear to ear after the Channel 5 155.
Always a smile on
Yeah,
horsepower.
we're going to take a break right now. Back with the trophy presentation of the Channel 5 155 in just a moment.
Watching the fireworks here live at Kentucky Speedway tonight. Frank Kimmel on Victory Circle talking about his big win tonight for the Channel 5 155.
Let's go to Frank right now and see what he has to say.
But right now I think he's probably in debt, so I don't think I want any of that right now. But no, we gotta thank Jerry Carroll and all the people here. Andy Vertrees, who's been a great supporter of mine forever, and this is a great racetrack for ARCA to come here and get to race in front of these kind of fans. It shows you what kind of faith they have in our class. I'm glad we're able to put on a good show.
All right, Frank, congratulations.
Thanks a lot, guys. Thanks, everybody.
All right, Frank Kimmel, ladies and gentlemen, the winner of the Channel 5 155. I'll tell you what, he did a remarkable job as he is in victory lane one more time. An outstanding effort tonight as he wins tonight the Channel 5 155. And here comes the champagne, and I'm going to get doused tonight. No question about that. They have hit me a couple of times, but this one we really got drenched this evening down here in Victory Lane. All right, tremendous win. Third win in a row, too. Championship here tonight as he has won the title at Kentucky. All right, well, we've got a lot more to go, and certainly Frank Kimmel enjoying the win here this evening. And now, if I can get, I'm looking for Mr. Dave Siva. Dave Siva, if I may. And we will get, there he is over there. Mr. Siva with, I have the first star, believe, the first star of the race award. Okay, let me find Andy here.
Well, that's Frank Kimmel down in the winner's circle there, and Frank getting a lot of champagne and a nice hug from his mom, too.
That's right, and hugging his wife, Donna, as well. Of course, he's from Jeffersonville, right across the river from Louisville. Big congratulations to Frank Kimmel. We have much more live coverage coming up.
We'll be back from Sparta in just a moment.
Welcome back live to the Kentucky Speedway. I'm Anne-Marie Tiernan along with Dave Wagner tonight. A big night here at the Kentucky Speedway. It really was a battle of two Hoosiers down to the very end. Of course, we had Frank Kimmel, the veteran, with a relative newcomer, Chad Blunt, giving him a run for his money right at the end. He really only has 5 career RE/MAX ARCA starts. He's from Walkerton, Indiana, and this young guy gave Frank a run for his money.
Yeah, he did. The young guy against the veteran.
That's
and the guy
right.
who is often in winner's circle. Let's go right now to George Vogel. He is with our second place finisher tonight. George?
Yeah, we are standing by with Chad Blunt. Chad, what a great run out there. You have the lead. What were you thinking then when you're out in front? And you know Kimmel's back there in the pack somewhere chasing you down.
Yeah, well, we knew, Frank was back there, but we actually had a better car than him there. It's just a shame, that yellow really hurt us. There's really nothing you could do. I mean, that happens, and that's part of racing. But we had a good car, but best car don't always win.
Yeah, when you were running 1 and 2 with Kimmel, there's an accident back there in turn 4. What happened back there? Actually, turn 2. What happened back there? Because you had to slow down, I think, for some cars to get out of your way, and that's where Frank shot by you.
Yeah, there was cars spinning through there, and you just kind of, you got to be cautious. You can't race through some of that stuff, and Frank just went through there. I mean, I couldn't believe he made it through there, but he did, and he won the race. But for the most part, we're happy. I just got to thank all the guys back at the shop. They're a super bunch of guys. They work day in, day night, and then at night. I mean, Todd Braun, my car owner there, and the Braun family. They're a super bunch of people. And I mean, look at the quarter panel here. We don't even have a sponsor. Maybe we can pick something up here. I mean, we ran pretty decent, but we just can't find it. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I think we're a front-running team, but I don't know.
I'd say you keep going toe-to-toe with Frank Kimmel, and someone's going to pick you up. You got to believe.
Yeah, we hope so. It's Frank's a good guy, but Frank is beatable. So.
When you guys came out for the restart at the end, and you are right underneath his rear end, I mean, you're trying to slingshot past him. How was he able to keep you from doing that?
He was. I mean, we were both racing wheels off. You can only give so much, but it was pretty exciting. It had to be exciting for the fans and for the TV viewers out there.
And I got to tell you that Frank complimented you, saying that you could have probably given one of those little love taps and shoved him out of the way, but you chose not to.
Yeah, well, that dates back to Atlanta when I was racing Damon Luss for the win there. I race people how I want to be raced, and for the most part, maybe Frank will someday in the future he'll repay me, with racing me that clean. But before we get off here, I want to say a happy Mother's Day to all the moms out there, especially my mom. She's putting up with my racing all the time here, and she knows my schedule's busy. I don't ever get to see her that much, but I want to say happy Mother's Day to all the moms out there. And
your mom was in the pits, right? Is that who I saw in there?
Oh yeah, she don't ever miss a race. She's always there. I mean, she's probably jumping up and down. She's probably I seen her a little bit ago, and she's still running around in circles, I tell you.
Oh, I was over in your pit. She was tied up in knots. She was praying for that checkered flag, but she's got to be happy and proud that you finished second.
Yeah, that's a pretty good day for the Braun unsponsored Dodge.
Okay, Chad Blunt, just 22 years old, but quite a salesman. Let's go back upstairs to Dave and Anne-Marie.
You kind of get an idea here, and I'm not a real sharp guy, that he may be looking for sponsors.
I think he is. I think we need to put out the call.
Yeah, well, he's 22 years old. When did he get started, George? Do you know? He looks so young.
Chad, they want to know when you got started in this business. 22 years old, but you look younger. I don't know if that's a compliment or not. At my age, that's a compliment.
Actually, I'm a 4th-generation race car driver. A lot of people don't realize that. I mean, when I was 1 month old, I was already racing. So, I mean, I've been racing for 22 years. I just haven't been behind the wheel.
Well, 1 month old, what, baby buggies?
Baby buggies, knees, strollers, anything.
All right, Chad. Hey, congratulations again. Second place finisher, Chad Blunt. Back upstairs, guys.
I know Chad's mom was there in the pits there, and I tell you, my mom, I think, would be a nervous wreck. I'd be a nervous wreck if my child were out there racing, wouldn't you?
Well, certainly there is that fear factor because you want them to win, but then you also know that they might have to push a little bit more. They're under pressure.
There were a few accidents tonight.
That's right.
Yeah.
They resurfaced the track, and there was a lot of talk about perhaps the track being more slippery, and we definitely saw some accidents tonight.
And Jerry Glanville, the former NFL coach who raced in this race tonight, he was a little concerned the other day. He talked to us, and he said, I don't know why they resurfaced this track. There's only a couple of tracks in the country I can drive.
Yeah, and he said this was the one he knew. Yeah. Unfortunately, he lost that. Well, for more about some of the incidents we saw tonight, let's go to Ken Brew.
All right, thanks, Anne-Marie and Dave. Again, with Andy Hillenberg, and we talked about, just to pick up on Chad Blunt, one final thought. I mean, here's a kid that obviously was third in the points coming in. He'll probably sneak past Damon Lusk into second. And, who knows what happens down the road. But certainly if tonight is an indication, he can make a run,
Oh, yeah.
I would think, Kimmel before this is all over.
He put a stamp there. I mean, that he's a championship contender, and if he can get that win soon, he will be a legitimate championship contender.
We have some video, I think, of some of the mishaps in tonight's race, and we spent a lot of time under caution in this race. The green flag was out. It was out often simply because there were so many restarts, but here you can see some of the adventures that occur. There, a kiss against the wall.
That was Tim Steele right off the bat.
And Steele went behind the wall and was done soon. This probably was the biggest adventure, and Slaw, who was riding fourth at this point, knocked out of the race.
Here we go with Chase Montgomery on the inside, trying to get his lap back. Had to pinch it down a little bit, got loose, spun up off of turn 2, but fortunately didn't hit anything and was able to continue on.
And as you can see, Montgomery is sent for a ride. A lot of caution laps tonight, almost a 3-2 split in terms of caution and green. But nevertheless, Frank Kimmel figures it all out. He's our champion again here at the Kentucky Speedway. We'll be back with more here from Sparta after this.
Tonight's broadcast of the Channel 5 155 is sponsored by AE Door and Window Company. We sell the best and service the rest. Bobcat Enterprises, the finest in construction equipment in Cincinnati, Louisville, and Lexington. Kentucky Lottery. Someone's going to win. Might as well be you. And by your Greater Cincinnati Ford dealers, an official sponsor of the Kentucky Speedway.